Hi, my name is Haley and we're going to be doing some Vinyasa Yoga today. So as always, if anything is uncomfortable or doesn't feel right, you can go ahead and skip it. There's modifications for every single pose and I'll guide you guys along the way. So when you're ready, you can take your eyes closed and we'll start coming into our breath. Kind of taking some deep inhales through the nose and just sighing them out the mouth. Inhaling deeply to the belly, sighing out long, even exhales. When you're ready, we can take the lips closed. So for the rest of the practice, we'll take the breath through the nose only, kind of creating some constriction in the back of the throat, maybe creating some internal warming with your breath. When you're ready, we'll start to take some shoulder rolls together. So on the inhale, let your shoulders come all the way up to your ears. As you exhale, pull your shoulder blades together behind the back, roll them all the way down. So link it with your own breath, inhaling, taking the shoulders all the way up to the ears, exhaling to draw them back and down. Take a pause and reverse your circles the other way. So each inhale, your shoulder blades are pulling together behind your back. Exhales, pull them back and down. Start to bring your shoulders back to neutral. And we'll take the right ear to the right shoulder, pulling the left shoulder down at the same time. Feeling a stretch in the left side of your neck. And if you want some extra support, the right hand can come to the top of the head. When you're ready, we'll roll the neck through center and take it to the other side. So this time, the right shoulder pulls down, the left shoulder comes to the left ear comes to the left shoulder. Breathing into this space. When you're ready, we'll roll the neck back to center. On the next inhale, take both arms all the way up. And as you exhale, let the right hand come down, and we'll bend into our left side body. So the left bicep comes over the ear. You can take the right forearm down if that's in your practice too, pulling the left hip down, kind of creating one long line of energy from the left hip all the way through the left fingertips. The eyes can be closed, your gaze can be up to the sky. So on the next inhale, come up through center, and we'll take it to the other side. So this time, the left hand or forearm comes down to the mat. We'll take the right bicep over our ear with the gaze coming up or the eyes closed. Continuing to breathe even when we're in a twisting position or a side bend. On the next inhale, we'll come back up together. We're going to roll over our knees into child's pose. So take your knees wide. I take mine the width of my mat. And just extend your arms forward until your forehead naturally comes to the mat. When you get there, pull your hips back towards your heels, creating some space in between each vertebrae. And from here, pulling your shoulders back instead of shrugging them your ears. Focusing on the breath and feeling the belly fill in between your legs, feel your back rise with each inhale, and just melting into the earth as you exhale. Start to walk your fingertips over to the right, and take the left palm on top of the right hand, so we're getting a stretch in our left side body. Just remembering that child's pose is always available in your practice if you want a safe space to come back to. Walk your hands through center and we'll take it to the other side. So this time the right palm comes on top of the left hand, feeling a stretch in our right side body. We'll walk the fingertips back to center and maybe up a couple more inches for the last couple breaths in child's pose, drawing your tailbone closer to your heels, creating a long spine. And then on your next inhale, we'll come up together in the tabletop position. So take your wrists under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. And try to push the ground away with your hands so your shoulders aren't shrugged. We'll take some cat and cows together. So on the next inhale, tuck your toes, drop your belly, and gaze up for cow pose. As you exhale, tuck the chin to the chest, round out the back. Tuck the tailbone and release the feet. So inhale, move it into cow, dropping the belly and gazing up. And as you exhale, press the back up, tucking the chin and the tailbone. And then take a couple more at your own pace. So link it with your own breath instead of mine. Maybe you're slower or faster. Kind of just taking the time to remember that this is your practice and nobody else's. Might look different or the same than me. When you're ready, we'll start to bring the spine back to neutral. We're going to raise the right hand on an inhale. And as you exhale, take the right hand behind the left wrist, coming into thread the needle pose. So from here, options to make it a little bit deeper. You can take a bind by taking your left hand behind your back, or you can press into the earth and take your left foot high for a little balancing pose. So wherever you choose, we'll take a couple more breaths here, stretching out our upper back. And on your next inhale, come back up to tabletop. We'll take the left hand high. And as you exhale, move it behind the right wrist, taking the left shoulder to the mat. And again, if you chose to do something on the other side, remember to balance out your sides. So take your right hand behind the back if you took the bind, or press into the earth and take your right foot up for the balance. When you're ready, we'll start to move it back into tabletop together. Pressing the mat away and tucking the toes. Start to lift the knees and press it back in a downward dog, so take the hips high. When you get there, we'll just walk out the feet, paddle out the legs. So press into one foot at a time. Pressing the chest back towards the legs. Making sure that the elbows point downwards so the shoulders are wrapped around the body. So from here, you can start to shake out your head yes and no a couple times, making sure you release any tension you might be holding in your neck. When you're ready, inhale and come up high to the toes. Exhale, bend your knees and slowly walk towards your hands. Take a couple breaths to get there. When you're ready, and your feet are hip distance apart, grab onto your opposite elbows and we'll just hang down in ragdoll. So releasing any tension that you're holding in your back or your neck, shaking your head out a couple times, and just swaying side to side passively. So it's a good time to set a little bit of an intention for the rest of your practice. Maybe it's something like an I am statement, like I am strong, I'm present, I'm powerful. Whatever you feel like you need to focus on today. And we'll come back to that intention at the end of the practice. So from here you can release your hands into the mat. We'll take the hands to the hips, and then on a couple inhales we'll come all the way up with a flat back. And when you get all the way to the top, you can take a little bit of a back bend if you're not dizzy, pushing the hips forward. Start to come back to center, and we'll take a vinyasa together. So on the inhale, let both arms come up. As you exhale, swan dive forward down. When you get all the way to the bottom, we'll take an inhale and halfway lift. So the hands can come to the shins, the toes, the mat, gazing forward, flattening out the spine. Exhale, plant the palms, step it back to plank, where you lower down halfway to Chaturanga. On the inhale, come to upward facing dog, taking just the toes and the hands to the mat. And exhale, come to downward dog again. So we've been here. If you want to keep on walking it out, we'll take 3 breaths in our downward dog. So maybe you still are dropping a hip as you walk it out. Maybe you just want to feel a little bit more open in your downward dog. And on the next inhale, come up high to the toes. As you exhale, bend your knees and walk, step, or jump to your hands. Inhale, take another halfway lift. Lengthen your spine. Exhale, plant the palms forward, kind of just letting everything go. And then as you inhale, we're going to sweep the arms all the way up. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart center. So from here, step your feet together if they're not already. We'll scoop the earth coming into chair pose. Gazing forward or in between the hands, sitting low and keeping the knees together. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, fold forward. Another inhale to halfway lift, looking out, gazing forward. Exhale, plant the palms, take it back to plank, and lower down to Chaturanga, half push-up. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale back to down dog. And when you get to down dog, we'll take the right foot high in the air. And bend your knee to open the hip. We'll just make some giant circles with the right leg. Kind of opening the hip, whichever way is calling you first. And then reverse your circles and take them the other way. So from here, take the back leg halfway down. And we'll take it in between the hands. Whenever you're ready to inhale, turn the back heel down so the toes are pointing towards the left corner of your mat. And inhale up to warrior one. When you get to warrior one, look down and make sure you can see your right big toe just to the left of your right knee. Make sure that your hips are squared towards the top of your mat or whatever wall might be in front of you. Take your arms up, but pull your shoulders downwards. And feel strong in your core, both legs and your arms. Take one more inhale here. And as you exhale, open it up to warrior two. So our stance is a little bit different this time. We're going to align the front heel with the back arch. And our right toes point forward, and our left toes point out to the side at a 90-degree angle. Our hips are going to be squared towards the side of the mat. So gaze forward, over the middle finger of your right hand. When you're ready, you can flip the front palm, and we're going to reverse our warrior back. So if you lost the bend in the front knee when you reversed, remember to keep bending in. And we'll just take our gaze up and take a couple breaths in our reverse warrior. Move it back into warrior two. And gently bend your arm and take the forearm to the thigh. And take the left bicep over the ear and gaze upwards for extended side angle. So if you're comfortable here, that's fine. If you want a little bit more, the right hand can come down inside of the right foot. And if you want a little bit more, you can take a bind. So taking the left hand behind your back, grabbing it with the right leg, arm, and opening your chest to the sky. On the next inhale, we'll bring it all the way back to warrior two and straighten out both legs. And we're going to hinge forward for triangle pose. So letting your hand come down to your shin, your foot, or the mat. Letting the left arm come up. And we're going to act like we're in between two panes of glass or a toaster. So we don't want our shoulders or our hips to get burned. We want them in one line with each other. And to get there, you might need to take your hand a little bit farther up your shin, which is totally fine. On the next exhale, you can look down. And let the inhale pull you back up. And when you get there, bring the right hand to the right thigh, then the left hand to the right thigh, and we're going to pivot around to a high lunge. So take your arms high in the air. Gazing forward, squaring your hips towards the top of the mat. We're on our front foot and our back toes. So take an inhale here. Exhale, let the left hand come down. Bring the right arm up and gaze up for a twist. Taking just a couple more breaths for a twist. Maybe taking your gaze to the sky or to the right hand. From here, we can take the right hand down and straighten both legs for runner stretch. So the back toes might point towards the top left corner of your mat. And kind of just passively fold over your right leg. Making sure that the hips are squared towards the front of the mat. If you want a little bit more, you can kind of twist your left hip around towards your front leg. And if you want a little bit less, feel free to bend your leg. When you're ready, we can frame the foot with the hands, and we'll take it back to plank together. And when you get to plank, take one big inhale, and as you exhale, lower down halfway. Inhale, come to upward facing dog. And exhale back to down dog. And whenever you get there, let's bring the left foot high in the air. Bend the knee to open the hip. And we'll take our giant circles, whichever way is calling you first. Just opening up the hip. Take a pause and reverse your circles the other way. And then take your left leg back halfway down. And we'll take it in between the hands together. This time, plant the back foot down facing the top right corner of your mat. And we'll come up into warrior one, so gazing forward, watching that. Your hips are squared towards the top of the mat. Shoulders are pulling down. And you're strong in your core, your arms, your legs. And remembering to tuck the tailbone under, bringing the navel to the spine. Take one more big inhale here. And as you exhale, we'll open it up to warrior two. So when you get to warrior two, check your alignment, making sure that you're squared towards the side of the mat. Your shoulders are pulling down, and your hips are tucking in, your belly pulling in. Gazing forward over your left middle finger. Taking maybe 2 more breaths in your warrior two. Feeling strong as you get maybe a little bit lower. When you're ready, flip your front palm and we'll take it back to reverse warrior. So bending into the front leg, straightening the back leg. The left bicep comes over your ear. One more deep inhale here. And as you exhale, bring it back to warrior two. We're going to bend the front arm and take the forearm to the thigh, bringing the right bicep over the ear. So this was option one. And if you took another option, be sure to balance out your sides. So we either took the left hand down, or we took the bind on this side, wrapping the right hand behind the back and the left hand under the thigh. Continuing to breathe, taking deep inhales, slow and steady exhales. And on the next inhale, we'll bring it back up to warrior two. When you get there, straightening out both hands. We're going to move it into triangle pose. So taking your right hand, left hand down, your right arm up. Gazing up at the right hand, and if there's ever discomfort in your neck, feel free to bring your neck to a more neutral position. Kind of keeping in mind to take your right hip back, take your right shoulder back, so your chest isn't facing towards the ground. take the left hand to the left thigh, then the right hand to the left thigh, and pivot it around to our high lunge. So gazing forward, straightening the back leg, bending into the front leg, pulling the shoulders down towards the back. Take one more inhale in our high lunge. Exhale, bring the right hand down and the left arm up for a twist. With each inhale, we'll lengthen upwards. And then with each exhale, we'll twist just a little bit more. One more inhale. And then exhale, bring the left hand down. We're going to straighten into both legs actually, bending over the left leg. So the right toes are pointing towards the top right corner of your mat. We're just passively folding down over our left leg, getting a little hamstring stretch and a runner stretch. One more inhale here. As you exhale, we're going to bend the left knee over the ankle, press into the mat and take it back to high plank. When you get there, take a big inhale. As you exhale, lower halfway down. Inhale to come to upward dog. Exhale to our last downward dog. We get all the way into downward dog. You can take another 3 breaths here, maybe noticing how different your downward dog feels now versus in the beginning of the practice. Remembering all the cues we came to, like to wrap your shoulders around, press your chest back, release your neck. So take one more inhale here. Then as you exhale, take the knees down. We're going to swing the legs around so that we're going to see the position with our legs pointing forward. Flex the toes towards the body. We'll take a big inhale up. And as you exhale, fold forward and grab whatever's available. So it's totally fine if you don't reach your feet. It can be your shins, your toes, wherever they come. You can fold more passively. Maybe you want to use your arm strength to pull you in. And wherever you are is great. Maybe you have a goal to get to. Flexibility goal, a mental goal. These are those times to think about that. Then your next inhale will come back up, bringing the right foot into the left inner thigh. Take both arms all the way up on your inhale. And as you exhale, fold forward. Again, grabbing what's available. Just kind of drawing yourself in. Maybe feeling a difference in your hamstrings. Between now and our first few hamstring stretches. We'll inhale back up. Switching up your legs this time, the left foot comes into the right inner thigh. Inhale and take both arms up. And exhale to fold over the right leg. As you inhale, come back up, and we're going to take the right foot to meet the left. So the feet are together with the legs spin side to side. We're recording. You're fine. So when you're ready, take a big inhale. And as you exhale, you can start to hinge forward. So either stopping here, coming down, bringing the hands forward, maybe the forearms come forward, maybe even the forehead. Just kind of taking a couple moments to slow down your breath and slow down your body. And your next inhale, start to walk yourself back up. And we'll take the soles of the feet to the mat with the knees up and the arms forward. And we're just going to kind of slowly come down onto the mat, one vertebrae at a time. So tucking your tailbone as you come down and using your core strength. Coming down as slowly as you want. When you get all the way down, press The hands by the hips. We're going to bring the hips up for bridge pose. So a couple options here for arm variations. Maybe you want to stay like this. Maybe you want to walk your hands under your back, pulling the shoulder blades together and interlacing your fingers. Other options, sometimes I like to grab on my ankles for a bit of a challenge, or take my hands to my lower back, pushing the back upwards. Wherever you are is perfect, and if you have another variation you like to try out, like wheel pose or shoulder stand, go ahead and do that if it's in your practice. So one more breath. We'll exhale to lower ourselves down. Bring the knees into the chest and give yourself a big hug, maybe rolling side to side a couple times on your mat. And from here, we can leave the right knee into the chest. Send your left leg forward. So we'll take a big inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, we're going to cross the right knee over the body. Bring the right shoulder to the mat and just gaze towards the right side. So it's totally fine if your right knee doesn't come all the way to the mat. It's really more important that both shoulders are on the mat. Taking just a couple breaths in our supine spinal twist, winding down. And from here we can hug the knees back into the chest. This time holding on to the left one, we're going to extend the right leg forward. Take a big inhale through the nose, lengthen out your whole body. And as you exhale, pull the left leg over the body, bringing both shoulders to the mat, gazing towards the left side. We'll bring it back up. With our knees hugging into our chest for the last little bit of effort for the practice. Maybe rolling around, giving yourself a back massage on your mat. And from here, take the soles of the feet together, and we'll bring the knees out to the side, all the way down onto the mat for Supine Konasana. Options here, hands can come to the thighs, maybe one hand to the belly and one hand to your heart. Just focusing on your breathing, taking a few moments to think about where you started and where you've come. Maybe to think about the space of relaxation that you might feel now. Remembering that it's something that's always accessible in your life. You found it here on your mat. You can bring it back to use at any time, whether you're on or off the mat. So when you're ready, you can extend your legs forward. Take your hands to your side with the palms rolling open to receive and the feet rolling out. Just take a few moments to relax your whole body from your toes all the way to softening at the crown of your head. Maybe taking a few minutes to stay in Shavasana and find some meditation or some relaxation, but it's my time to go. So if you're not deciding to stay in Shavasana, I'll invite you to take your hands to your heart center with your thumbs to your sternum and bring your chin to your chest. And I want to remind you guys that the light in me honors the light in all of you guys. It's the same light that's within all of us. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Namaste. Thank you for coming and doing yoga with me. Really appreciate it. Have a good day.